Good evening and welcome to another Max Sports Show. The cricket show's back here, day 5 of the first or third test match, and finally it's ended up in a draw. Predictable. Joining me to review the test match plus the series between England and Pakistan is Tom Jones. Very famous name. Nothing to do with the singing. Good evening.
Thank you, Masood, for that wonderful introduction. And yes, great to be here again and join you on this chat.
So what do you make of the series then? It's all over.
Well, I think there was a lot of hype, a lot of sort of optimism in the cricketing press about this being a quite an evenly contested series, and I think if the weather had not intervened, I think it probably would have been a lot closer than perhaps 1-0 comfortable series victory. Maybe remembered for. So yeah, I thought it was a very evenly contested series and one which both teams should be relatively happy with. Obviously, England slightly more so because they got the win.
Well, the biggest achievement today was the 600th wicket for Jimmy Anderson, wasn't it? 156 test matches, 600 wickets.
Yeah, I think hearing Wasim commentate at the time and just be so impressed by Jimmy Anderson's achievement, I think is a wonderful accolade from the best fast bowlers in modern day cricket ever. So yeah, well done to James Anderson, the Burnley Lara.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, Wasim said when they were actually playing, the benchmark was if he got 300 or 350, that was fantastic. But for Jimmy to get 600, his first fast bowler, and actually in terms of fast bowlers, they don't last that long because of the body gets a lot of hard work they have to put into. So he's done fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, all the plaudits are quite right. All the compliments are quite correct because before him, I think Wasim was right to say that getting somewhere in the 300s, maybe just over 400, which I think was McGrath. Did McGrath get over 400 or did he get over 500?
He's got, I think, over 400 as well.
Yeah, so I think 350 to 400 or whatever was quite remarkable. So for Jimmy Anderson to still be going strong, fit, and have the skills that he does, and to have got his 600th victim today is truly a fantastic achievement.
I think they only played until he got a 600 wicket, and after that it was let's play for a bit and just make sure the fans are happy that we did play a bit longer than the 600th wicket, which is what they seem to be waiting for.
Well, it was a bit bizarre because I didn't actually see the wicket live, but I did see, and I thought I was seeing things, was Dom Sibley bowling. It was a bit ridiculous. I think Andrew Strauss was on co-commentary saying for Sky that this is about as far removed from Test match cricket as you could possibly imagine. When he turned up to bowl, and I think he bowled 2 no balls, 2 balls which virtually did not land anywhere near the batsman, but landed near his own feet than where it should have landed. So it was quite shocking. But it was a bizarre end, but probably a fitting end. And I liked what Azhar Ali said, and I liked what Root said in terms of being thankful for everybody to have got the series on, because the easier option would have been for no cricket, no series with Pakistan coming over. So a lot of credit should be shared amongst both cricket boards in Pakistan and in England, and for the players to have been prepared to travel and put themselves into the what was called the epicenter of the pandemic, and put themselves in a bubble and entertain. And I think a lot of the Pakistan individually, a lot of the Pakistan players individually should probably look back on this series with a lot of pride and a lot of personal accomplishments, from a bowling perspective and a batting point of view.
Yeah, certainly. I think the find of the series has been Mohammad Rizwan. He was being criticised quite heavily in the press by some of the Pakistani so-called experts, are saying he shouldn't be picked ahead of Sarfraz, who's been obviously former captain and successful one as well. and they're a very good keeper. But it seems he has proved himself, and he was the man of the series for Pakistan.
Well, he was man of the series, and he also quoted your friend Rashid Latif as helping him get him some coaching tips about how to keep in the English conditions. So he obviously is well connected and well thought of by certain people in Pakistan. If Rashid Latif's helping him out,
yeah, Rashid has mentioned him in the past as well, because we've kind of had a chat about him a few years back and stuff, and he's one of Rashid's prodigies as well. And Rashid Latif probably was one of the best keepers in recent times in Pakistan. I know Moin Khan played brilliant as well. He was a fantastic batsman, but maybe not as good keeper as Rashid Latif. So if he's got Rashid Latif giving him tips, which has helped him and he was brilliant behind the keeper, behind the wickets, and didn't let anything go by. And his batting has improved as well. So he got a couple of good scores in the second and the third Test match.
Yeah, well, he was justifiably player of the series. But as we talked about last time, I think Azhar Ali should also take a lot of credit, or be given a lot of credit, for the way he batted in this Test match, and to find form after a long period of being out of nick. He's very, very tough, and he and Buttler have both proved that they've got that class, that sort of that mental fortitude. But the opening batsman, what's the name of the opening batsman who scored a century?
Shan Masood.
Yeah, Shan Masood. So he, although he didn't score many runs afterwards, he still scored a very, very attractive century in that first Test match. And then the young two opening bowlers have both done very well, and Mohammad Abbas has done very well, and of course Yasir is still the leading spin bowler in the world. So lots of positives, I think, for Pakistan, even though it was a 1-0 series victory for England.
Yeah, and really Pakistan should have won that first Test match, given what the situation was at one time, and it would have been more interesting. Obviously, the weather hasn't helped, but like you said earlier, I think everybody should be given credit for putting actually the cricket on, which was fantastic. But given the fact that some of the players actually didn't even get a game, but they've actually been in the bio bubble for 3-4 months. You had the West Indies here, and then some of the English players have just been there and never got anywhere near the team. Yet they didn't break any of the curfews, and they didn't see the family and stuff. So having been in that bubble for 3 months, to actually give us some cricket, you have to take your hats off to all of them.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think, as you know, I'm the first person to kind of moan or whinge about highly paid or overpaid elite athletes of all different sports, if they don't provide the basic entertainment. I'm not talking football there specifically, but you know what I'm talking about. They are obviously very well paid, centrally contracted elite cricketers. But you might. Many of them might have been forgiven for saying, sorry, I don't want to play this summer for reasons we don't need to explain regarding the pandemic. But that wasn't the case. The ECB, the Pakistan Cricket Board, the West Indies Cricket Board managed to put on what was in both cases competitive, entertaining Test match cricket. And yes, you're always going to have a bit of influence of the weather in the UK, and that's all part and parcel of the experience. But even without crowds, I think the standard of cricket in the main was very good, and Test match cricket is still alive and well.
Yeah, I think that's important, because real cricket is Test match cricket, and where players actually come, you can actually see the skill levels and stuff. So in terms of both sides, they did perform well, and of course the series against West Indies was also fantastic. Again, you've got to give credit to West Indian players for coming into Britain. Obviously, when the situation going back a few months ago, Britain was high risk place to come in terms of pandemic. I mean, we've had in this country almost 50,000 deaths, which is nothing. If you look at the West Indies or Pakistan, they've had nothing similar in terms of COVID situation. But for them to all come, give up all their families and the time and everything else, it has to be a huge credit to everybody who was involved, the players and stuff. And like you said, Azhar Ali and people, his team put up a good performance in the end. People criticise it. I mean, I'm critical of his captaincy. I thought his captaincy could have been a lot more positive. He could have been more attacking and probably would have won the test matches. But having said that, he did perform well at the end when, the going got tough and he had to save a test match, which they did really well, with help of obviously with the weather as well.
Yeah, and I think he's still, he's still very much learning how to lead the team, isn't he? He's not an experienced captain by any means in terms of test match. So I think he'll learn an awful lot from this series. I think sometimes you have to lose before you win. You have to fail before you succeed, and maybe that first test match will be the making of him as a captain if he gets the backing of the board and all the administration. Because I think he's just a very good ambassador for the game personally, as an outside observer of cricket as a whole. I just think he, on and off the field, he speaks really well. He conducts himself well on the field. I think he's a genuine class test match batsman. But maybe captaincy, is something that he's got to learn lots more from as he gets more experience, over the years to come.
Well, as the test series is now finally over, I think I really enjoyed it, despite the fact that I'm one of those extreme Pakistani fans who goes mad when they lose and stuff. So I kind of throw my tantrums. But overall, I think it has been a good series because, given the circumstances, given the conditions, and some of the Pakistani young bowlers are really far, new. And I think it seems that sometimes we're criticising everybody far too easily. But I think overall, they didn't do too bad, and they'll have learnt a lot from this series. And now moving on to the T20s, back to sunny Manchester. What's the prospects over there?
Well, I don't know what it's been like across the Pennines in Yorkshire today, but if it's anything like it's been here, then there's absolutely no doubt about it that it's going to be rain affected. I think I remember. Do you remember Inzamam playing for Yorkshire and wearing a beanie hat? I think that could be the par for the course in terms of what the guys have to wear in the coming weeks. I mean, it should be good fun, but I guess if maybe for another time, but we could do a score out of 10 for each player. You do the Pakistan team, I do the England team. But I would imagine that we would both be quite scoring them quite highly, individual by individual player, because most players have made a positive contribution in some capacity over the course of the Test match.
Yeah, certainly some of them did really well. I think the biggest disappointment were probably Asad Shafiq, who at batting at number 6 has got 900s, where he was really struggling on this tour. And Fawad Alam, poor man, after getting a test place back after 11 years being out, didn't get many runs and was just it seemed he was lost. And he got a couple of wickets in the last innings, but really struggled in the conditions. And I think it's very difficult for somebody to be out of test level and then come back and try to make a mark. I can't see him getting back into the squad, because it seems what they'll say to him, we give you an opportunity, he didn't take it, and thank you very much, goodbye. Which is sad, because I think he has done well as a first-class cricketer over the years and stuff. But other than that, we did see, glimpses of Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah Afridi, positively. Babar Azam did play in patches. He showed that how classy he is. But again, he didn't convert his 50s into hundreds, which is what's required of somebody of a greater talent. And if we were talking about him in the same breath as Steve Smith, Virat Kohli, and Williamson, then he has to do a lot better than what he did in this series.
Yeah, but he's very young, isn't he? I think next time, judge him more next time he comes to the UK, rather than just on this particular tour in isolation. That's what I would do. Even someone like this is not a great comparison, but everyone talks about how Chris Woakes, his statistics are so different bowling abroad in different conditions outside of England than it is in England. Well, some people are like that, aren't they? They're better suited to conditions that they're brought up on. And I think Babar will, when he comes back to England next time Pakistan play here in Test match series, judge him more then than on this particular series.
Well, I'm hoping after this successful tour of Pakistan actually coming, that we can see England touring Pakistan. That's what's needed. You know, we've had Bangladesh and Sri Lanka go out there, and Wasim said the other day that, you know, you boys owe us one now, and possibly they have been talking about one in 2022. If England actually go out to Pakistan, it will do a great deal for Pakistani cricket, really will.
Well, I'm sure that the administrations will be talking about that, and you know, a bit of quid pro quo, and you know, hopefully, you know, that's something I would love to see. I'm sure you know, every Test match cricket fan around Pakistan and England would love to see as well. So you know, let's look forward with optimism and hope that happens.
Well, move on to, let's say, T20. I mean, there are going to be changes from both sides. There's lots of players who actually have been practicing it. It was quite funny to actually see that on the Test ground in Southampton there was no cricket, and next door in the old ground there were actually Pakistani players. Wahab Riaz was bowling 100 miles an hour, and it was bizarre that, you know, those guys couldn't care less about the light and stuff, and yet, you know, in the Test match where they've got lights, they had floodlights, and they weren't playing.
Yeah, I think that was all a bit confusing, wasn't it? But I think when Root was interviewed, he was very politically correct in saying that the umpires were only acting in accordance with the guidelines they were given. So the fact that the ICC rules were what they were prevented more cricket being played. I think that will probably be looked at, and it'll be better next time around. But it was crazy, I think, for that period when the light was seemingly okay, and yet there was no play allowed.
Yeah, well, I think the T20 will be more fun, but interesting how we'll see probably Wahab Riaz, Mohamed Amir, and some of the old Imad Wasim, some of the so-called local boys. These are guys who've been playing around for a while. Some of the big names, are they, in a way, because you think Wahab Riaz and Mohamed Amir are big names in the game, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if they can get a good spell of weather. I think it'll be very entertaining, despite, you know, lack of spectators in the grounds. I think everyone will look forward to that, because you know, it's white ball cricket perhaps has been Pakistan's stronger suit in recent times compared to Test match cricket, and you know, lots of Pakistan players of white ball background have done well in that format, in the T20 Blast, or even in, you know, local league cricket as overseas pros. So I think it'll be very entertaining and lots of fireworks.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we're missing in all of this is the fans. I mean, it's like T20, even T20, where everybody packed houses at Old Trafford, really, or wherever they played, because Pakistan always have a noisy support, because, you know, boys from Bradford, Manchester, Winslow Road gets crazy when Pakistan are playing. I'm actually really missing the real cricket, because sitting here watching in the box, don't get that thrill at all.
No, I'm the same. I think it's strange when you watching sport at all of any type now, where you've got that superimposed crowd noise. But I don't know whether they had it on today, but I didn't really register it. But in previous days, they've got the same recording of the same crowd noise, which is maybe on a rotation of maybe 60 seconds or 40 or 50 seconds or something. So you hear this every so often. You hear this same woman's laugh, that's the only kind of crowd noise you're getting. And again, credit to the players, because ultimately it's an entertainment industry, isn't it? And they're performers, and performers need crowds. And apart from all the management team and non-playing staff and those players that are left out from the first 11, that's been it. So arguably you could have said that the standard of cricket might have been justifiably lower, both for this series and the West Indies series, just because of lack of atmosphere with no fans. But that's not been the case. So, well done to the players.
Yeah, the players really performed out. I mean, you can't imagine Pakistan games with just one man laughing. It will be Pakistan Zindabad and all the hooters and the doles and stuff that we all bring, I remember going to a test match at Headingley in the early 90s when Imran Khan was at POM. And we took drums, and we took our paratas and, samosas and pakoras and everything, and that's a part of the day out there. When you actually go out with the family and stuff, that's the fun. And I think that's something was like usually the grounds are sea of green, aren't they, with the Pakistani flags and everything else. We tend to make more noise. You English guys are a bit somber, and you like your suits and ties and come out with the good old pint in your hand, whereas we like to make a bit of a racket.
Yeah, well, I'm probably more probably more aligned to how you described the Pakistan fans than I am the way you described the England fans, to be honest with you, Masood. But I've been fortunate enough to see some fantastic games where Pakistan have been involved both against England and against India in Champions Trophy and World Cups and stuff like that. And there's nothing better than when you've got that sea of green and all the noise and all the sounds and smells and stuff like that. That's what it's all about. Yeah, absolutely. So it is a shame, but that can't be changed at the moment. So we're lucky that we've got some form of cricket to look forward to at this time of year in England.
Yes, certainly. And let's have a prediction at the end. I think we've talked a great deal about the test matches, test series, and we've done more or less prediction for the T20. What are you going to say?
Well, I think England will win, but I think it will be a lot closer than perhaps some people might imagine.
Well, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say to you, because Pakistan have been one of the best sides in T20, I think they might have gone down to number 2 or 3, but for about 2 years, they were the top team in T20 for 2 years as running. I think it was they won about 17 matches on the tour, but I will say 3-0 to Pakistan. I'm going to put my hand up and say 3-0.
Well, you're doing a Glenn McGrath there, aren't you? So I'll allow you to get away with it until the series is over with. But it would be great, wouldn't it, if you went into the final game 1-1.
1-1. No, but it'll be 2-0 by the time the series will be wrapped up on Sunday evening. Well, we shall. Well, thank you for tonight, and we shall actually maybe have a chat after the first one on Friday. Which probably will be late if it's there. Yeah, I think we'll have a chat after that. Good. Thank you for joining me again tonight. Have a nice evening. Thank you very much, and we shall see you back on Friday. We'll probably do a preview show on Thursday. We might get one or two others to do, but thank you very much, Tom. Enjoy your evening.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.